I've decided I'm going through a rebrand, and you can too. I think it's a powerful thing to decide that you are rebranding, you are redirecting your energy, you are pivoting the way you have been doing things to find better best practices and make things more aligned with who you are now. Because who you are now is not who you were even a month ago, even 3 months ago, 6 months ago. Like, actually think back to who you were 6 months ago. You're a different person, but your thought patterns might need some spring cleaning or fall cleaning. Do you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times your old thought patterns are fighting for dear life to keep existing, and your brain wants to pick an unfamiliar hell pick a familiar hell over an unfamiliar heaven. And so what you end up doing is clinging on to old ways of being and thinking that don't serve you anymore and actually limit you to your old identity, which might be less effective and less efficient than you're ready to be. In my case, I'll give you a really specific example. So I have always been the kind of person who goes off the cuff with everything I do with my videos. When I'm choreographing, it comes from freestyling. I do choreograph though, but I don't like plan my choreography ahead of time the way a lot of people do. And part of that comes from my success from freestyling things and from going off the cuff. But I've limited myself to being that and to thinking that I'm not the kind of person who plans. And I'm not the kind of person who could plan ahead my videos. And I realized also, like, part of planning, similarly to when I come up with choreography, part of planning can be a creative, spontaneous process. You can allow yourself to stream of consciousness right, freestyle right, and come up with ideas to plan things for your writings, for your videos, for your music, for whatever it is that you're doing. It could be academic things. And you can make it part of your flow state. I think that's the other thing, is that I thought that I could only achieve this flow state if I am freestyling things. But what if I became the kind of person who very calmly spent less time looking on the internet and then responding to things immediately, but instead spent more time intentionally being thoughtful about what kind of content I'm going to put out, sit down, write out stream of consciousness, different ideas, put them together, plan, and then execute? Why don't I give myself the opportunity for that to be just as fun? Because the way I've been doing things starts to feel unfulfilling. Not necessarily that going off the cuff is like the biggest issue, but I do think the way I've been thinking about content is maybe not serving me anymore. Because specifically on TikTok, I think TikTok I think I'm a little burned out over there. Not just because of all the drama that happens, but because the general tone is like, I'll give you an example. If I posted a video that says something good about me, like me saying something good about myself, if I say I love me on TikTok, they're going to say, you're a narcissist and you should get that checked and also you're ugly. And did you know that you have under eye bags? And also you're a narcissist and a bad person. If I put it on YouTube, they'll be like, wow, girl, happy you're having a good day. And it started to drive me insane. And then you eventually get to a point where you're like, well, why am I still doing things the way I've always done them? Because I'm waking up every day and choosing that, whether consciously or subconsciously. It's pretty subconscious probably. But you're going to sink into your habits and into your old patterns. So I like this idea of a rebrand. And so I'm sharing it with you because maybe we can all rebrand together and take the power back of where our energy goes. Because like part of it is me feeling like, oh, well, this is the way to be productive. And the way to be productive is that I always need to be making things. I need to make a million videos off the cuff and just throw things out the wall and see what sticks and blah, blah, blah. Well, do I need to do things like that? Is it necessarily more effective? I wouldn't know. I've never tried to be anything else. That's my problem. Drop a comment below if you like the way I dig into my psyche, because I know it's a lot, and I think it's a lot of shadow work, but for me it's really helpful and useful. But let me know if you're resonating, please. Tell me I'm not the only one. Drop some emojis down below. But I feel like I'm ready to level up. And so I need to make the conscious decision to physically lift up my foot, place down my heel, ball, toe, metatarsal onto that next step, and use my glute, zip up the back of my hamstring to step up and elevate intentionally. What would that look like for me or for you? What does that mean for you in your life? What I'm going to do is, like, I've been such a journaler lately. Like, journaling, I think, is what's going to be my salvation, and is my salvation, and I'm considering dedicating my life to journaling. I'm considering, like, it's a bit of a religion of sorts. Like, I spend a lot of time journaling, you guys. Because what you end up doing is you're consulting yourself and your higher self, and also, like, the universe, in a way where other people aren't in the way, which normally they are. For me, I can get so introspective. Like, I learn things when I talk to myself, and talking to myself on paper through journaling, it's just so satisfying and cathartic, and I think it's really helped me learn more about my inner programming and the way my mind works. Now, you don't need me to tell you about why journaling is good, so I'm going to stop doing that now, but my point was that I've been doing it a lot. So because I've been journaling so much, I do come up with phrases, because you get into stream of consciousness. And this is what I'm saying, like, this can be part of the planning process, and this in itself is a flow state, creative, freestyle kind of thing. So I've just been limiting myself for no reason. So we must rebrand. But when you're stream of consciousness journaling, a lot of times you end up you have to filter out through the faucet, get out the dirty water so the cool, nice, clean stuff comes out. And then once some interesting things come out, I go back and I read, and then I'll underline some things, and then I might make a poem. And then I could make this poem that might go over, like, an overlay of a yoga video or a dance video, or these are things that I can do for myself. I think it's about sustainability. Rebranding for sustainability in my content creating career, and just, like, life, and just literally life, not even just content creation. Part of my rebrand is I'm the kind of person that gets a really good sleep. I have to. Otherwise, I'm not as nice of a person, you guys. And it's clinically shown. Like, just a couple hours of sleep a night can make you feel like you get, like, I think $60K more in your salary a year or something like that. It elevates your mood about that much. At least that's a study I saw. Sleep is a really big deal. It's kind of annoying how big of a deal it ends up having on my mental health. So I'm rebranding as a person who gets good sleep. Meaning, so what does that mean? Now I have to behave like that kind of person, right? So I have to act like my bedtime matters. I can't go, oh, well, I'm just going to do whatever and stroll on my phone and watch TV for whatever till 2 a.m. I have to say, I'm the kind of person that gets good sleep. What time is it? Well, if I want to get a good sleep, I need to go to bed. And that's called discipline. And that part isn't fun. Part of this is long-term gratification. Part of YouTube is long-term gratification. You put in more effort, longer effort for sustained, hopefully, impact, right? Because YouTube does have more longevity than something like TikTok, and I think TikTok is really volatile, and they eat you up, they chew you up, they spit you out, then they like you again, and it's like really bad for my mental. And it's just like, I've just been doing it because I'm like, well, it's like the quickest way to reach. You don't know that if you don't put more effort into things in a different way, even in intentional content and then posting it and stepping away, you don't know that that can't be just as effective. Even if it takes me more time to come up with one video, you don't know that that video can't be as effective, more effective, worth it, because you haven't tried. I gotta try. And I'm writing my book. I'm rebranding as an author who gets a good sleep and makes content mindfully. Meaning, I'm not going to be a slave to my phone, a slave to other people's opinions, a slave to an app, a slave to the internet. I'm not going to do that to myself anymore, because it's a habit pressure, it's an internal pressure, and it's like, there was a time where none of this existed. There's a time when I wasn't visible on the internet and I didn't go out in the street and people knew who I was. And I like meeting people who like my content out, because they're always super sweet. And I think I'm good with the amount of recognition that I get. It's perfect amount. I don't super want to go beyond that, to be honest. I think I'm at a very comfortable level of like, wow, that's really nice. I go out and people like will sometimes say something nice. That's really sweet. But the negative impact on my mental health that I think particularly TikTok has had, and then the way I'm still engaging with the app all the time, I think I have like so much resentment towards it, and towards the energy on there, and towards just a lot of the viewership and the way things get taken and the way I get taken. It started to like break my heart for a while. And I think I'm now just a little bit burned out and maybe just getting too old. Not too old like for TikTok period, but too old to engage with it in that way where it's like I'm reacting to everything and like I have to be the first person as quick as I can to say the point, so that like I'm one of the first people to make this point about this new thing in the news. Like, that's like digital slavery, as Quen Blackwell said about streamers, which it's a really useful term, and I think it applies more to streamers but that's the other thing. It's like a self-built prison of your own making is like, I think particularly for streamers who have to do it all the time. Like, yeah. But even in content creation, it's like if you're choosing to always be online and always be surveilling or surveying yourself and the way that people see you. Like, this is what I'm letting go of, not just with this eclipse and this rebrand, but just in life. I am letting go of the constant check-in and awareness and surveillance of people's opinions of me. Oh, yeah. That's been happening 24/7 for like probably 5 years. And it's like the past like day or so, I've asked myself, well, maybe 2 days. I've asked myself, well, what if I just didn't do that anymore? What if I just like stepped back in a way where I could be like, I'm not putting all of my thoughts on here so frequently, and I'm not spending so much time looking at these thoughts so they don't fill up my life anymore. Because I've let it fill up my life. But I let it, right? Like, because it's addicting to see what people are saying about you. But then I became like the constant monitor of the public opinion of me, and I can't do anything about it. Like, You could say you could because you're the one that's posting things, but I mean, people will always take you the wrong way if they want to. If it's in their best interest for whatever reason to make their ego feel better, for them to then talk badly about you and your looks and things that you can't control, but then make it like a moral standing and whatever they want to do to misunderstand you. You actually can't really, you can't contain it. And I've been listening to some videos that were talking about like anxious attachment as an attempt at containment, I believe. I'm not 100% sure I'm getting this wording right, but it's this idea of like, I get it though, because containment does feel accurate to how I feel when I'm anxious and attached, or of what I'm seeking. I'm seeking to contain the situation in a way that controls it, but you can't. And it's like, the whole point is to realize that you can't and feel freedom in the fact that you can't, and trust in yourself. And then so you don't really have anything to worry about because you don't have control, full control. And that's what detachment is to not worry about it. But your brain isn't wired that way. So it's kind of very tricky, but that's where I'm at today. I hope you relate to something I said. Please let me know. I've been so consistent. Please subscribe, send this video to a friend, turn your notification bells on. I will see you next time. I love you. Have a really good day. Bye.